All right, so we had a long week in Bitcoin this week. There was a lot of stuff that happened. El Salvador passed a bill to legalize, uh, to make Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador. We had early weekly FUD from FBI seizing part of the ransom from the Colonial Pipeline hack. So that happened on the 7th, and then we basically had 2 days of sell off. This night right here of the 8th around 11 o'clock, that's whenever news started coming in that the bill from El Salvador was going to pass. And then we had a large day, and that's, we kind of went sideways since then. But getting to the Colonial Pipeline hack, so the FBI on the 7th had, made this public, this document, and they partially redacted the address where they said, 63.7 Bitcoin of the subject's funds were seized. I had said, in that video on Monday that they probably worked with the custodial to get access to that server, and it's likely that they did. That's what happened. So you can see here. So there's this profile on Twitter where he calls himself the Indiana Jones of the cryptosphere. So he, basically decoded this, the rest of this address, and you can see here where it was 69.6 Bitcoin got transferred to this address, and then you had the 63.7 that was reported in that document transferred here, and then you had another 5.9 that was transferred to another address. And both of these addresses, you can click on them and see that those funds are just sitting there, here and then also here. So they haven't been cashed out or anything like that. The funds are just sitting there. So, they recovered it. Actually, no, this one still sitting there? Oh, this one's been emptied. So I guess it's moved on. I don't really want to spend too much time, but what I really wanted to say was, all this stuff's on the blockchain. It's all public. Anyone can go and find this information. This will be on the blockchain forever. It's really cool. People think that this is all mysterious, but it's pseudonymous. Yeah, there's addresses, but those addresses ultimately, there's usually on ramps from fiat and then to Bitcoin. So a lot of it's traceable, pseudonymous, unless you have access to the bank accounts which transfer the fiat and then went to the exchange and transferred that for the, in this case, Bitcoin, but it can be any cryptocurrency. And if they don't take any measures to shield these transactions or increase the privacy, it's simple. You get an address, you can trace it all the way down. You can go down the rabbit hole of all these addresses where they go. So yeah, I just wanted to point that again. The FUD was that FBI somehow could crack a wallet. That's not what happened. So moving on, midweek, like I said, we had that bill. We had a nice, a lot of positive news. We had a $4,000 day, almost 12%. So the president of El Salvador. So now, if you look on the Wikipedia page, it says Bitcoin currency and the U.S. dollar here. So this is cool. Here's whenever the bill had kind of just passed. This says 1 o'clock. I remember 11. A lot of the news started coming in. So this goes into effect 90 days from June 9th. So every business is going to be set up so that every citizen can actually pay for goods and services with Bitcoin. So that's tremendous. And then no more than a day later, he posted this about, so a lot of their electricity apparently is geothermal. So, he posted soon will look like this. Half a mile, we'll have a mining facility. And then, later on in the day, here's a drone, a new well, and apparently it's going to be used specifically for Bitcoin mining. So again, we had all that Elon FUD that, Bitcoin's dirty. This is an example of, and, for the past couple of days, everyone's like mining Bitcoin with volcanoes. It puts all that, Bitcoin is dirty. This is an example. It's one example, but, Bitcoin makes, it provides an incentive to find the cleanest and cheapest electrical power, and this is this is an example of that. So wind, solar, geothermal. Um, if I go to my profile, I know I tweeted something. There's a yeah. So man with no name, I follow him. He kind of made this crypto art volcano with Bitcoin coming out of it. So you know, kind of Bitcoin's Bitcoin's going to be coming out of a volcano because they're going to be using volcanic geothermal energy to mine Bitcoin. So literally, Bitcoin coming out of volcano. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, so getting on to price, um, we look okay. CMF's still going up. I know that the shorts were still, piling in. They've been pretty steady. I know that let's see, on the 4 hour they had, it's been pretty steady. Nothing too crazy. We still haven't reached this upper bound yet. We did find resistance. I know I did say that we would probably find resistance around the 35 area. We're back there. Looks like we had a little bit of a sell off, 4%, 1500. Not sure why. It's the weekend. Nothing's really extended here. Daily, I mean, this is still going up. Our moving averages, yeah, they're going down. We had some good, so if you look back at the news from the FBI happening here, news usually affects price for, a couple of days. And we had that, a couple of days, a couple to a few days. We had news come out that, El Salvador making, Bitcoin legal tender there. We had 1 to 2 days news affecting price, and we're kind of going sideways. Yeah, we've lost some of that movement, but I think we're still consolidating. Kind of we have a 9 that was green. This is kind of a reversal candle. Or this is a reversal candle. This isn't kind of a reversal. This is a reversal candle. This is probably going to close at the low. I wish that it's almost as low as the 6. It's definitely as low as the 7 and the 8. So this could be our reversal candle, and we could go up from here. I still do think it's going to take every bit of 3 to 4 months for us to rally back into, the upper bounds is 50 to 60,000 until. We're 100% out of our position given where we are in this market structure. But, we haven't, there hasn't been a confirmed bear market start until these moving averages are all trending down. Now, I would say if we get this moving average closing below the intermediate closing below the long term, and then we get consolidation down here, and then we get maybe a couple of weeks of a green one, red one, and then we get, a down week, and then a red 2 closing below a red 1 below this 9, then I would say, yeah, we're about to enter a bear market. How long that's going to be, I'm not so sure, but I know the stock to flow model is definitely being tested because, it's at 66,461 for today. And, even though we went to the lower ends, and I said on the last video that if we had, more than, I would say 2 to 3 weeks below the lower bound of the stock to flow model, that it was likely that that stock to flow model was no longer going to be valid or broken. So right now, half of this is 33,230. So, we're about, $2,500 above it. So this very well could have been the low. We can go up, but I still do think it's going to be a slow recovery, which, I mean, this is awesome. A slow recovery. This is more time to accumulate Bitcoin. Don't think that was the top, but we'll see how to go. I think we're mid-cycle, so that's about it. Gold and silver. I mean, we had the inflation numbers come out, and inflation hasn't been higher. I think we had a 5% increase in May. It hasn't been this high since the financial crisis. I mean, the repo markets. So the repo market is a market that the Fed facilitates for institutions to borrow money, mainly banks, so that they have the proper cash on hand in order to facilitate their operations. And I know the repo market they're still pumping out billions of dollars. And I know Stanley Druckenmiller had went on, I can't remember which outlet, but he had also said until the Fed stops basically giving a crutch to the market, The market is going to, because the bond rates, I mean, the bond interest rates should be going up. I mean, gold, silver, I mean, oil's reacting to it. It's asset price inflation. Gold really hasn't done anything. It's actually down for the last 2 weeks. All these inflation numbers coming out, it's like the market is just brushing it off, and it's because there's so much money that's being pumped in from the Fed into the markets that it's kind of not giving us what true reality is. It's not letting the markets do. It's not letting them be free markets. It's definitely being propped up. So, and then that's diminishing the fears that you know asset prices are going up. But as far as a hedge for it, I don't really have to hedge that position until the wheels fall off this thing, and then I can scale in. So gold's kind of just being flat. Silver actually had some good price movement, but it's still catching. I mean, there's still sellers here. So I said I had gotten out of my silver position. I actually kind of went back in, but not as heavy as I was. Earlier in the day, we were closing above this 9. We didn't quite close above it. Again, we missed it by pennies, but you can obviously see that there's massive selling here. We'll see what happens over the next week. We're going to get this 9 as long as price doesn't collapse and close below 27.52. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think the RSI looks okay. Oh, I still have the CMF up. Yeah, so it's kind of just flattening. This is kind of trending down, which isn't great. But I entered that position. I wish we would have closed, above this 2, a 3, and we would have closed above that 9. That would have been, again, it's pennies, but closes above price areas that price targets and areas of interest are important. I mean, you can see there's obviously selling. They're selling this. But as far as, let's see the gold to silver ratio. So I'm watching that. Again, the position's not as large as it was. Again, I still think silver's going to outperform gold. It's just consolidating down. So we'll see what happens. This can almost be a triangle. It's, a descending triangle. And most descending triangles fail or, are somewhat of like a symmetric type triangle. Something right here. I wish we would have had more points, but yeah, something like that. You could probably draw it like this, something like this. And once this fails, it's only upper end, but once this fails, then you're most likely going to see silver outperform gold. I still think silver is going to outperform gold. So yeah, I think that's about it. We can look at TLRY. I know I talked about that. It looked great, but then it kind of faded. The position that I was in, I actually took profits on. And then I'm waiting. I didn't like this candle here. We hit the 9. We went up. There was high probability that we were going to retest this. So if we consolidate here for the next couple of days, that's okay. Even if we dip down all the way to 1807, that's also okay. Our CMF is still kind of trending up. Our 4-hour, it's trending down, but like I said, we can go all the way down here. This is going to be support for sure between $17 and $18. This could be a good area to scoop TLRY up if you're trying to catch the bottom, or we wait for these moving averages start to condense, and then maybe in another 3 to 4 weeks we can have a nice green candle closing above a prior green candle, and then we go higher. So outlook, we probably consolidate between, I would say, $17 and $18. If this area gives way, I would say if this lower 9 gives way, so like $16.75, we're going to go back down to these like $13, $11 areas. So I think that's about it. That's all I wanted to recover. That's all I wanted to cover. If there's any comments, leave them in the comments. We look like we're finding some support here. Our hourly, again, this is going to be support. It was before. If we break below this, especially below this 9, this 34,861, we can, anticipate to find support here at around 33. I wish our CMF was going up. On the daily, it is, and that's more important than what the hourly is doing. So That's about it, and I appreciate it, and thanks for watching.